Everybody, welcome to another episode here at No BS Just Marriage. So thankful to have you here for another episode. My name is Boris. This is my lovely wife.
Hey everybody, I'm Stephanie.
Yes, and we've got another one that we're excited to get into. As you all know, this is part 2 of last week's episode. We went through a lot. We dove into some of the reactions and responses from the question on our IG poll. So this episode, we're gonna kind of, give the second half of that and go into what the correct and biblical response and answer is to the question that we raised, which is, of course, who comes first, your parents, your kids, or your spouse. So let's get right into it. Who actually comes first? Everybody was getting so defensive with this question, this topic. So let's just talk about the polls first, our responses and what we got. I'll just go over my the final results from my poll. So 3% 3% of the people that voted selected child, parents, then spouse. Another 3% selected parents, children, then spouse. Got 24% for children, spouse, then parents. And then the majority is the 70%, which selected spouse, children, then parents. So those are my results. How yours kind of similar or what?
Yeah, they're very much similar. So for me, my Instagram poll, children, parents, spouse, I was at 7%. Parents, children, spouse, 3%. Spouse, children, parents, 59%. And the order of children, spouse, parents were at 31%.
Okay. So pretty much aligned with mine.
And in line with God.
And aligned with God, most importantly. The strong, we already talked about it last episode, but there were some great responses that we got. But let's go into it. So this episode, we're kind of shifting a little bit as far as the topic on that question that we raised to the world. But go ahead and get it started.
Yeah, so we're just going to explain the divine order based on what God says and what the Bible says. So pretty much the truth is it's God first, spouse second, kids third, and parents and whoever is after that. That's not an opinion, that's scripture.
So it's a trick question. God was first.
I mean, God is always first. That's not even a question. That's why it wasn't part of the poll, because who wouldn't be above us?
Right.
So,
of course, yes. And a verse for that, just to piggyback, Genesis, one of the famous verses, someone read it in our wedding. Genesis chapter 2, verse 24 says, "Therefore a man shall leave his father and mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh." So,
Martina.
Yeah, it was Martina. Yeah, I don't be name dropping. This verse, of course, it just means that once you're married, your parents are no longer first, your spouses. That's just point blank. So there's another verse also that's in Titus chapter 2, verse 4, where it tells the other women to train the young women to love their husbands and children. So the big thing is here is not just that they mention both, it's the order. It's husband first and then children. So again, God is, he don't make mistakes. Like when he's spitting in the Bible, he's consistent and he's spitting the truth. So he don't play when he says God and spouse, then yada yada yada. But spouse is first. So what you got for that?
I mean, this is a conversation that stirs people to their bones. And I get it, it's the who comes first, kids or spouse topic. And I see people online getting mad and saying, how dare you put the man above kids, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's the kid that you birthed. Like, why would you think a man would come above a child that I gave birth to? And, and then there's people that are like, a man is not blood, your kids are blood. And so I get it. Your reaction is how you feel, but it's not God's law. We go through so much to bring these kids into this world, and a lot of people grow up in homes where their dad weren't even dependable. So it feels safer and natural to say, yeah, of course my kids come first. So
completely agree. And I think here's the thing. It's when we look at God's design, it's not about comfort or culture. I think in Ephesians, it says something about a man leaves his parents and the two becomes one flesh. So,
Mm,
I don't know. Maybe there's a reason why it's almost the identical verse in Genesis and Ephesians, but all to say that covenant between husband and wife is what the whole family's built on.
mm-hmm.
The kids come out of that covenant; they don't stand above it, so you can't put them first. It's
Period.
backwards.
Yes, I agree. So, you know what people always say? They say, oh my gosh, well, if the house is on fire, of course I'm going to grab my child first.
Mm-hmm.
There's no hesitation with that. And obviously you would too. Nobody is arguing that, but but here's the part that people miss. Most kids aren't destroyed by fires. They're destroyed by foundations, and not the flames from outside the house, but the cracks inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that
Okay,
make sense?
it does. I
So
like
the
that.
question isn't who would you save in a fire? The real question is what kind of house are your kids living in
Mm-hmm.
every single day?
Mm-hmm.
Because saving them once in a lifetime of a fire is really, the odds are low when it comes to that, you know? But if they spend years breathing through the flames and smoke of what's going on inside your house, that means your marriage is broken. I hope that made sense.
It did. It did. I think the truth is those cracks they show up in everyday stuff. So who gets your best energy? If the kids get the fun, patient version of you all day and your husband only gets what's left and you're tired and irritated, then that's kids first. That's not covenant first. So
Mhm.
that's a wrong way of kind of living through it. So
Yeah, and I feel like people are gonna fight you with that. Say like, my husband don't help me with anything, so like, of course I'm gonna be tired at the end of the day. But I have an answer for you later because I will hold the men accountable, um, at the end of this.
beautiful.
And okay, so another example, based on what you gave earlier, is when the kids sleep in the same bed as their parents.
Mhm.
That's also not putting each other first because I get it. There's certain circumstances where, your living situation will make you
Mhm.
sleep with your kids, and that's totally fine. But I'm talking about your child has their own room, and somehow they're always sleeping with you every single night, and you're telling your partner essentially, you know, F how you feel. Yes, kids do need comfort. And yes, they might have nightmares and whoop de whoop, whatever the excuse is. But essentially, you're still showing your kids that you're not prioritizing your husband because you're allowing them to sleep in the same sanctuary that, is supposed to be for a wife and man.
Mhm.
So,
Oh, that was deep.
I
Felt
think,
strong about that one.
I mean, we didn't experience that.
I
So,
know. Sounded like you did.
no.
Um, yeah, I think there's discipline. I think that's the next thing. If I set a boundary and the kids cry or throw a tantrum, and you step in to undo it just to keep the peace, then that's not peace. So I think that's teaching them that they can overrule the covenant.
Mm,
That's not fair. It's not effective. And I think once they feel like they run the house, the whole house gets shaky, and it's kind of hard to overturn that. So
yeah, I agree. And one thing that also kind of stings, and most people are not going to hold themselves accountable for even this at all. But at the end of the day, and you could be guilty of this, and that's okay. But you know, as parents, we give so much grace to our children and not to our spouse. And so our kids mess up all day. They make mistakes, but at the end of the night, we still hug them goodnight. But let our husbands make one mistake and we're not saying goodnight. We're being cold. We're giving them the cold shoulder. Or just mean. We're not showing any respect, no affection. And kids, they get grace endlessly,
hmm,
you know? And that man you made a covenant with gets none. So that's just backwards.
agree, 100%. Um, Also, another topic, I think, when it comes to money.
Mm,
We'll spend thousands on the kids for sports, for shoes, for electronics, for trips, even, and no hesitation. It's just second nature. We have to do it.
mhm,
It's the kids. But then when it comes to investing in the marriage, what about that? Therapy is too expensive. A weekend away is not in the budget. Even a date night feels optional. We
mhm,
talked about that in an episode, how impertinent that is. And that just shows where the real priority is.
mm,
If your nature is to, by any means, we'll make sure we cover the kids when it comes to finances. But when it comes to us, we kind of have to think. We have to
mm.
think twice and maybe put things to the side and put the kids first. But it's not fair.
That was good. That was a good example.
Hmm.
And often, sometimes, and this is something that most parents do, is they idolize their children. They're like, oh my gosh, I created a mini version of myself. And yes, your kids are a beautiful gift from God. And it says that in the Bible. Kids are a gift from God, but they're not your partner. They're not designed to be your first priority. And while we're on that, there's something I really can't stand when I hear. Can you guess? No? When
Mm-mm.
people say, well, my wife or husband is replaceable, but my
Mm.
kids aren't. Well,
Yeah, yeah, they're my blood type of thing. Yeah.
yeah, and that's crazy because that right there just tells me alone that your covenant is already broken. Because why would you even think of that? You don't like your partner? I'm confused.
Right. No, I definitely agree with that. That's deep. If you ever tell me, you know, it's my blood, you're replaceable at the end of the day. You start playing Beyonce, irreplaceable.
But like dead ass, wouldn't that hurt your feelings?
Absolutely. What do you mean? Of course. That would hurt my soul if you call me replaceable. Okay. Anyways, here's why here's why people don't want to choose their spouse. It's uncomfortable. Kids feel so innocent. Your spouse, though, they see all of you, they challenge you. Choosing them forces you to grow up. And I
Hmm.
think that's why, circling back to Genesis 2:24, when it says you become one flesh, it's not poetry. It means your spouse is literally a part of you.
Mm.
To neglect them is to neglect yourself. It's the covenant at the end of the day. So
Yes. Yes.
it's really strong. I think that's one of the most important verses in the Bible, especially how big God is on marriage and
Yeah.
and being faithful.
Yeah, and I get it. And I get that some of you grew up in a single parent home or toxic marriage. Maybe you saw your parent prioritize a spouse in a harmful way. So now you overcorrect by idolizing your kids. But that doesn't make it right. Trauma doesn't change God's order. And let me make this very, very, very clear. If you're single or you're divorced or just dating, this does not apply to you. So please do not come in my comments trying to say anything that has nothing to do with you if you're not married. This is not shade. I'm talking real life biblical scripture because at the end of the day, respectfully, before we got married, my son was always going to be before you. And because we weren't married, I had no loyalty to you.
Mhm.
There was no reason for you to come first if we weren't married. The moment I said I do, that order changed.
Agree.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Thanks for choosing me. But yeah, I think that's why it's big that the question was spouse, not partner, because
Yes.
that we would have snowballed into a whole different millions, trillions of conversations. So,
Yeah, yeah.
and on that, I think to give like a more like fun, relatable type of connection, if that what we just said didn't click. If you think about movies like in this, what I thought of was The Incredibles. um Obviously they're a superhero family, but whatever. Those kids, they didn't step into powers until mom and dad came together.
Mm.
The strength of the marriage unlocked the strength of those kids, so that is the foundation again of everything, and then that branches off to them. I think that's God's order right there. That's unity in the covenant first,
Mm-hmm.
then the blessing flows into the children. So
Yes,
that's
great
I think
example.
I think I didn't even know if that was like corny, but
No,
I
no,
think
no.
I think that is a great connection.
I don't think that was corny at all. I think that was a great example to showcase what a union is supposed to be like at home.
Mhm.
You put the mom and dad first, and then those kids that they got their powers from their
Yeah,
parents,
exactly.
and so you're essentially saying, okay, so if we're good, our blessings and our abundance will overflow to our children.
Facts. Facts. Thank you.
Of course.
You listen.
um, okay, so now that we've talked about um, not putting your children above your husband or wife, the second part to this is when people put their parents over their spouse. So a lot of y'all protect y'all parents' feelings more than your spouse's voice. Okay. And like your husband will say, hey, I don't like how your mom is always in our business. And instead of hearing him out, you defend your mom and you'll check your spouse before you'll check your parents. And that's not what you're supposed to be doing. That's very much backwards and disrespectful to your spouse.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think also because what you're really telling your spouse is your voice doesn't matter as much as theirs. And that's just completely off. After a while, that's going to cut deep. It makes them feel like they'll never be chosen over your parents. And who wants to live in a marriage like that? I think
Mhm.
that's literally just the worst thing you could do. So,
Yes, and here's another thing, like when your spouse says something to you about, something that you guys are talking about and you're not I don't really agree with you, but then you hear your mom and dad say the exact same thing and you're like, "Oh, my mom and dad said this is okay, so it's fine." Like, why are you listening to your parents but not listening to your spouse when the exact same story was
right.
said?
And that's crazy because as soon as you say I do, your spouse is supposed to be the loudest voice in your life after God.
Hmm.
You know, that like your example that would irritate the mess out of me. And it's your spouse that comes after God, not mom and dad. If your parents' words shake you more than mine, then we don't really have a covenant. We've got competition instead.
Mm.
That's I think that's just completely that would piss me off. I don't think you've done that before.
No, but you have, but we weren't married
Oh
then.
my goodness, you couldn't wait.
Maybe we were engaged. Yeah, we were
Okay,
engaged.
go ahead.
And I think I had told you, I don't remember the specifics. Maybe I'll help draw your memory, but I think I was telling you about a certain lotion you should use, and you were like, "Oh no," or you didn't even hear me. But then your sister told you about the same lotion that I told you
I remember this.
that I also recommended.
Hmm.
And when you brought this lotion home, I'm like, "Oh, did you?" I don't remember. Do you remember the
I
specifics?
do.
What is it?
You just said. I mean, that was
That was
it.
just it.
That literally was it. I think it was more so about using butter versus lotion.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Lotion versus shea butter.
yeah.
And I think I was trying to put you on and you weren't hearing me. Then your sister said it, and I'm like, oh, okay, bet. But, you know, I think if that happened now, my feelings would definitely be hurt. But in that time, I think we had to go through that to just kind of see, like,
Hmm.
how that affected me. Because you were telling me, like, oh, yeah, you said it, but who cares? But when my
Hmm.
sister said it, like,
Specs.
her voice matters.
On to the next topic. Talking about my past, my immature ways.
Okay, but I didn't say like anything negative. And another thing people like to say is, "Oh, blood is blood." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's true, but covenant is different. Blood gave you life. Covenant is who you build life with.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't make that shift, your marriage will always come second.
That's great.
Now that we've talked about kids coming before your spouse, we've talked about parents, but let's be real. Sometimes it's not even outside people, it's the husband himself out of order. And I'm going to hold y'all accountable because that's what I like to do.
I'm just here.
I'm going to insert this clip, this quick TikTok clip of how it was just about, it was just showing how men are not leading in their marriage. Okay, so you'll just see it. I'll insert it now. Now that we're back, so based on the little clip that I showed you, you were able to see how
That was wild.
that was wild.
That's just your algorithms. Your your feed wants to show the men who ain't shit, but
That's not
my stuff is
true.
empowered men who uplift their queens.
Okay, I'm gonna have to see your algorithm after this
Mm,
because I don't believe that at all.
okay,
And
go ahead.
secondly, somebody sent me this TikTok. It wasn't even something I
So
was
it's all
searching.
your friends got these algorithms. That's great. Cool. Go ahead.
But isn't it crazy how the first clip just showing the woman holding the umbrella and the guy, like, it's not like he was, handicapped or, he
Nah,
couldn't.
he just got a perm.
And his hands in his pocket, like, yeah, you got this umbrella and you hold it over me.
Mm,
What?
that's funny.
Like that blew me. And then the women on the kayak, they're in the kayak and they're just rowing
No,
the
the worst
boats.
one was the girl holding the bag on her back. She was like hunchback trying to carry it. It was at the beach or whatever.
Yeah, it's weird. And I really don't like when I see men not hold the groceries for their wives. Like, what is going on in this? Like, what is going on in this world where
You think all those men put their parents or their children first in this
absolute?
question?
Oh gosh, yes. I don't even have to. If I make an assumption, I'm sorry, God, but yeah, that I can absolutely tell you right now, they're not putting their wives first. If a man won't cover his wife in the small things, he will not cover her in the big things either.
No, I think that's facts, and of course, this is just an example of what we're seeing on TikTok. But in relation to what we're talking about, obviously, it's bigger than groceries, bigger than umbrellas. But it's the same spirit when a man sits back and lets a wife carry the whole household.
Mm,
That's on a way bigger scale than kind of the TikTok and the skits of that one. But the kids, the cleaning, the appointments, the meals, everything on her shoulders while just existing in the home. I think that speaks all types of volumes, and that's not leadership. That's laziness. Real leadership means taking weight off her, not piling more on.
hmm
And when a wife feels truly covered, then she doesn't fight you. She trusts you. That's when she'll be able to choose you over her parents or over her kids, because she knows that she'll never have to have that issue with them. So it starts with how the man leads at the end of the day. And that's probably why some of the people in that comment said spouse last, or spouse,
hmm
after children or parents, whatever. So
Yeah, yeah. Women will naturally follow a husband who leads with love and sacrifice. And the kids, they will see it too. They'll grow up in a home where respect and union are the foundation, not imbalance and finding resentment between the family. Also, if you aren't married, make sure you guys are aligned with how you view the order, right? Whether or not you don't agree with what we've talked about biblically, I think it's very important to understand your other spouse's
mhm.
how you think they're going to value the marriage going into the marriage. If I'm going into our marriage and I'm like, okay, God, spouse, kids, and you go into thinking God, kids, spouse, there's a problem here.
So are you saying that it's okay for if a couple's not super aligned, not aligned with, connected with God and everything we just preached, if they go into a marriage and they're both like, you know what, we agree that it's children, spouse, parents, then that's okay?
I mean, no, I mean, okay, that's a great question. No, I don't believe it's okay. Like if you're not a Christian or you don't believe in God and all these things, do what works for you. But I'm only speaking to people who put God at the center of their marriage.
Okay.
So all that extra
So
is
you don't
none
got
of my
advice for
business.
anybody else?
No, that's none of my business.
That's a great answer. Stay in our lane.
Stay in our lane.
Okay. I second that, by the way. It was just wanted to see if you had a throwing a curveball at you. But yeah, like I said, we talked about the kids, we talked about the parents. We want to make it plain though. Anything outside of that, whether it's siblings, whether it's cousins, aunts, uncles, friends, strangers, even,
Hmm
know your place in someone else's marriage. It's
mm
it's super important. The covenant is not a group project. God didn't invite everybody at the table.
Ooh, not
You
a
know,
group project. That's good.
it's not a group project. He set the order clear, husband and wife first. Everything and everybody else comes after, and that's just the bottom line. There's no ifs, ands, or buts.
Period.
So that's God though. So that's him. So that's all I got. What you got?
I cannot follow that. You just mic dropped.
Uh, yes.
So no, I have nothing to say to follow that. You did a great job discussing all of that, and yeah, I think this was a great episode. I hope this resonates with somebody. I hope that maybe you thought one way and you kind of see it a different way. But I think in the last episode, just to quickly, wrap this up, we did talk about how certain circumstances would make you not feel like that order is the
Mm-hmm.
right way, right? So, like I said before, if you're single, do what works for you. And if you don't have kids, do what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are married and you have children, respect your spouse. Okay, God, spouse, kids, and everybody else after.
Bottom line.
Bottom line.
Great job, man. I think that was a good one. I think that was a perfect close to last episode. So yeah, let's close it out.
You don't have any questions? Like, you forgot to do the game. You
I
don't do.
know, and I just remembered that, but I can't think of something on the spot. Do you have something?
No, but
Okay.
we can think of something on the spot.
Let's add a question.
Maybe, just to get to know us.
Maybe. All right. So, fun question to end the episode. Today's fun question of the day is, if we were to swap lives for a day, what is the first thing that you would do? So you're in my body, I'm in your body. You're Boris and I'm Stephanie.
Well, dang, that's a great question. I probably, my brain has went very intrusive right now, and
go ahead.
It went sexual.
Of course, it has to.
Doesn't have to.
I feel like it has to.
I don't know. I just like, this might be too much information, but I don't know. Like, I want to feel what y'all feel.
Okay, keep going. You gonna rate me?
What?
Like, how you just gonna feel what I feel? The first thing you do.
No, I just want to know, like, y'all, I don't know.
Go ahead. You already have it in your brain. Say it.
I think I want to know, like, what that feels like when a man is entering. I just want to know what that, like, sensation feels like for y'all.
Okay. So who you gonna do that to?
You, because you're me.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. All right. So, I mean, I feel like that was my first like thought too. I'm not saying I want to be penetrated. I definitely would like look down there and rub it and be like, what is this thing that she be feeling? But
oh my gosh, something's wrong with this.
I don't know. I think I'll just be like fascinated with my body. Like, you got things up here and a thing down there. Not a thing, but I don't want to get too graphic.
I feel like you would shake ass.
You think I'm gonna twerk? What you mean? No, I'm not. I would. What would I do? Like, this is like it's better for you to answer, because like I feel like anything I would.
Oh, I see.
It's almost like it's homo. It's like no homo. Like,
okay, so
what I'm gonna do? I want to wear heels. Like, what I'm gonna say? I don't know.
I feel you. I feel you.
I don't know.
Maybe you should be me so you can see, like, because you'd be saying like, oh, like, you're scared of everything, and see why. Like, see where my brain goes.
Because I would have your same like scared. Like, I would have your same emotions and everything. I would go into raging bull immediately. Yeah. And I would get the scare out of you. I was scared of, scare that fright out of you, and we can go to Six Flags all the time.
Okay.
That's a weak answer, but that's my answer, Steve. Okay. Let's close this up. All right. So thank you guys for watching the follow-up episode to last week's. We hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully the answers and the biblical context, all that, gave you some clarity and understanding on why that order is spouse, children, parents.
You forgot God
above all that.
Oh, okay.
Don't forget that. But if you guys, definitely still share opinions, comment as much as you'd like. Follow us on Instagram, by the way, TikTok. Subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Like and share to all your friends and family, your enemies, your boss, your cat, whoever. We love y'all. And until next time,
we're thankful for you guys.
As always, yes, stay blessed. Good night.